Step right up and let's talk about Diet Venusaur. With the Teal Mask bringing back the first wave of returning Pokemon to Scarlet and Violet, this might be Victreebel's chance to shine. Victreebel here is a grass poison type, which means it has a 4 times resistance to grass. It resists fairy, water, electric, and fighting while being weak to fire, ice, psychic, and flying. Stupid birds. As far as our stats go, we have 80 HP, 105 attack, 65 defense, 100 special attack, 70 special defense, and 70 speed. Now, Victreebel here is also a Chlorophyll mod, which means it will double its speed when Sun is active on the field. And with a timid or jolly nature and max investment into our speed stat, we hit 134 points, which means we will hit 268 once Sun is active on the field. Now, there are faster Chlorophyll mons out there, but what Victreebel has over them is it has a relatively comparable attack and special attack stat, which means it can be a mixed bag. You don't know whether or not it's a physical sweeper or a special sweeper coming your way, and that can be fun. Now, you are a glass cannon, don't get me wrong. 65 defense and 70 special defense are not doing you any favors, but probably the safer item to run on Victreebel is a Focus Sash. Now, you can run a few other items. You could run a Clear Amulet because that would protect you from any speed drops, which would be devastating to any Chlorophyll mon out there. And if you're running a physical Victreebel, that will protect you from attack drops, which would be miserable, especially coming from Intimidate. Victreebel also has a great utility move like most Chlorophyll mons, and that is Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder, while only having 75 accuracy, can put one of your Pokemon, or rather one of your opponent's Pokemon, to sleep. This can be really handy if you're in a 4v4 situation. Now your opponent has to weigh the odds of whether or not they want to switch out or stay in for the mandatory sleep turn. If you have the numbers advantage on your side and say they can't switch at all, well, now they have to stay in and take that sleep turn, meaning you just effectively turned it into a 2v1 situation, which can be really handy for keeping up control of the battle. Now, as I mentioned too, Victreebel does have comparable special attack and attack. As far as the movesets go, I only put Sleep Powder into the special attacking set, but you can definitely run it on a physical attacking set as well. I just want you to keep that in mind as we go, because Victreebel does have some other options. This thing has been around since Generation 1, which means it's had the better part of 30 years to incorporate new moves into its move pool, and it definitely has done that because Victreebel does have a rather wide move pool. What I was thinking first for a special attacking set is we go max investment into our special attack and our speed, and then we can run one of 3 different offensive grass attacking moves. We can run Energy Ball, which is a solid base 90 attack. We could run Giga Drain as well, which is a little bit weaker with base 75, but it does give us back some HP. And then finally, and this is the biggest nuke that I can think of, Leaf Storm. Leaf Storm here is a base 130 special attack with 90 accuracy, and it does lower your special attack 2 stages, but you could make the case for using Victreebel as a hit and run Pokemon. What you can do here, instead of the Focus Sash item, you could run an Eject Pack. So the Eject Pack will switch you out as soon as your stats get lowered. And what I was thinking, because this could be a little bit funny, especially with Grimmsnarl having access to not only Prankster but Parting Shot as well, you can use Grimmsnarl to pivot out into one of your opponent's 2 mons, lower their attack and special attack, bring in your Sunsetter, because maybe your opponent was thinking, oh, it's just a Victreebel with no Sun all set up in front of it, because what's Victreebel going to do to me before I get my boost? Well, Victreebel is going to spank you with a Leaf Storm. That's what it's going to do. Because if you switch out Grimmsnarl and bring in your Sunsetter, well, Victreebel just doubled its speed. And if you wanted to make it hurt all the more, you could go Terra Grass to double your stab on Leaf Storm and just nuke your opponent with a base 260 power move. Switch yourself out, because then you're going to take your own special attack drop and then reset that, and then Victreebel can come in later. And then you can get to bring back Grimmsnarl and then set up a screen or two. Fun idea. As far as the other attacking moves go, I was thinking we could go for Sludge Bomb for some poison type coverage to deal with fairies as well as opposing grass types. Especially if you're running any ground types on your team, you would be a little bit weary of grass types, especially too if you run into another sun team, because you usually see at least one Chlorophyll on a sun team. So having access to that Sludge Bomb can be relatively handy. And plus, 30% chance to poison the target is not bad at all. And then another fun little tool that we can use on Victreebel is Weather Ball. Now, this can be a little bit interchangeable. You could run Protect instead of this, but what I was thinking with Weather Ball, especially if you don't want to go Terra Grass, this can get really spicy really quick. So Weather Ball will double in power when there is an active weather, whether it be sun, rain, snow, or sand. And then in that case, it'll become a fire type, water type, ice type, or rock type move and jump from 50 base power and the normal typing to base 100 of the corresponding weather typing. If you're in the sun or in the rain, well, now you'll get an extra 50% boost to the corresponding type with that weather because they also do that. And if you wanted to go Terra, especially Terra Fire on a sun team, well, now you're giving yourself a base 100 fire type move that gets a 50% boost from the sun and now stab from Terra Fire. That's going to be one fun fireball coming someone's way. Forget the Piranha Plant. Victreebel's got that firepower right there. So that's what I was thinking for a special attacking set. And like I said too, if you didn't want to run Weather Ball, you could also run Protect to help keep Victreebel around because priority moves will be a problem as well. And that's something else you could do too with the Grimmsnarl is you could always switch Grimmsnarl out into an Indeedee and then set Psychic Terrain. And then that way you might be able to save yourself from some form of a priority move. That could be a thing too. Or you could bring in, like, say, Farigarath as well, because Farigarath's Armor Tail can also shut down priority moves. Just some food for thought. Because the other thing too, and I didn't really think of this until just now, 70 is not the fastest number out there on a non-chlorophyll mon. So what you could do too is you could also potentially throw Trick Room up, and then that way too, Victreebel wouldn't necessarily be the fastest thing on the field, so you could potentially have some decent odds of moving faster under Trick Room. So food for thought for an afterthought. So let's talk about the physical set for Victreebel. Victreebel here gets Power Whip as a great physical grass type move. It's base 120 power and 85 accuracy. Now, if you're a little bit worried about the accuracy, you could run Leaf Blade instead, and you drop 30 points in power, but you gain 15 points in accuracy and a slightly boosted critical hit ratio as well. So definitely two solid options to deal physical grass type damage, especially if you did want to go Terra Grass. As far as some other moves go, we get access to Sucker Punch, which is a great priority move to have, especially too if you don't get Sun on the field right away. You could at least go for the Sucker Punch to maybe pick off a weakened Pokemon as well. Terra Dark could be nice too, because that also protects you from Prankster's status moves, and plus you gain Stab on Sucker Punch. As I mentioned, as the alternative to Weather Ball, you could run Protect here. You could also run Sleep Powder. And as far as poison type coverage goes, you could run Poison Jab as well, or you could switch that out because Victreebel does get some other coverage options as well. It gets some solid bug type coverage as well. You can use Leech Life if you wanted, which is base 80 power right there, which would also heal you back a little bit. You could also run Lunge as a little bit of support tech. It's the same base power as Leech Life, but instead of healing you, it is a guaranteed attack drop into your opponent. So that could be relatively handy as well for a physical attacker. And then you could also run Pounce as well, which this is more purely support for Victreebel's partners because while Pounce is significantly weaker, it does lower the target's speed stat one stage. So it's a little bit of speed control for your partner with Victreebel. Or if you're in a Chlorophyll battle, this could be handy too because you can maybe potentially slow down a faster Chlorophyll sweeper with Victreebel, and then Victreebel might be able to get the upper hand on them. That could be a thing to keep in mind too. So Victreebel also does have some notable moves as well. It gets Growth as a status move, which basically, when Sun is not on the field, it's a free +1 to both your attack and special attack. But if you have Sun on the field, that's a free +2. So that's basically getting a free Swords Dance and Nasty Plot at the same time, and you're doubling your speed with Sun. So that is definitely an option to throw on Victreebel if you wanted to. You get Toxic as well. Toxic makes poison get worse over time, and when it's used by a poison type, it also can't miss, which could be really nice to wear down your opponent over time, especially if they can't switch out. You get a Toxic on one, if not both of their mons. That could be game breaking right there if you have something defensive in the back that can outlive them. You also get access to Encore, which is a fun little move because if your opponent thinks, it's just a Victreebel, I can set up in front of them, you can lock them into a move. I mean, Jumpluff, of all things, does this all the time, which is funny, but you could lock them into a move, like say maybe it's Annihilate, and they're going for Bulk Up. You could lock them into Bulk Up and then they can't do anything. That could be nice as well. And then Strength Sap is a fun little support option too. So Strength Sap is not only a healing move, but it's also a guaranteed attack drop into your target. And what Strength Sap does is it heals you based off of the number of attack points that that Pokemon has. So something like, say, a Garchomp that has really decent attack, or like Baxcalibur, which has really good attack, that's a lot more HP you're getting back from there. Galarian Corsola, when it was around in Sword and Shield, that Strength Sap on that made it scary. And you know what? Victreebel, while not being as defensively capable as something like, say, Eviolite, Galarian Corsola, it could still have a little bit of fun with that Strength Sap. And plus, on top of that, like I mentioned, it's also a guaranteed attack drop. So not only are you healing up, you're also weakening their firepower when you're hitting them with it. Some notable moves on far as the damaging side goes, you get access to Clear Smog, which is relatively nice because it will reset the target's stats to 0. So if they started boosting up quite a bit, well, now you can just undo all of that right there with Clear Smog. You also get access to Knockoff, which is a great move to be back as a TM because not only is it 65 base power, when you're removing that item for the first time, it's gaining a 50% boost in addition to that. And if you go Terra Dark, well, now you just added Stab to that as well. That Knockoff is going to hurt. Acid Spray is a relatively fun little move as well because it's a guaranteed 2 stage drops into the target's special defense. If you have, like, say, maybe something like Ninetales and Victreebel, and Ninetales sets off that Sun for Victreebel, and Victreebel goes for the Acid Spray, Ninetales' own firepower can increase, especially if they double up into the target. Like, we've seen this with Iron Moth and Flutterbane with the booster energy, Acid Spray, and then Flutterbane just goes for a Choice Specs attack. You could definitely do that as like a diet version with Ninetales and Victreebel. That's definitely a option. So just food for thought. And then, as I mentioned too, with the speed control, there's Pounce. Pounce can be fun. I like Pounce. It's actually one of my favorite moves to run on Scizor. But yeah, anyways, that's my main thoughts on Victreebel coming back with the teal mask. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and let's get the conversation going.